Travis left. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Pipestone City Council meeting for July 15th, 2024. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Delaney,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Thompson, Councilmember Swanson,
Here.
and Councilmember Colbeck.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And we also have our city attorney, Jason Hill, via Zoom, and our city engineer, Travis Winter, via Zoom this evening. So thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we'll proceed then with our Pledge of Allegiance. If we could stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Is there any additions, changes, or deletions to our agenda? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no, and motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. The consent agenda contains the following items for approval: the July 1st, 2024 regular meeting minutes, the payment of claims, listing of bills, the June financial reports, and then also amendments to the development agreement by and between the City of Pipestone and Quick Trip Incorporated, and amendments to the stormwater maintenance agreement between the City of Pipestone and Quick Trip Incorporated. And those amendments are for clarification and confirm each party's obligations and responsibilities. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda. That's easy for me to say.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no, and motion carries. Community concerns. Stephanie, did we have anyone sign in for community concerns?
There were none.
Was there any written notification or anything this week?
Nope, no calls, no emails.
Okay. So no community concerns. We'll move into our reports, and first up is the museum. Susan.
All right, thank you. So at the museum, we have we built a paid internship into our 2024 budget, and we received 8 applicants. We hired Isabel Van Veldhuizen. She's a junior at Augustana College. Augustana University in Old Habits, I guess. In Sioux Falls, she's majoring in anthropology, environmental studies, and public history. So she's pretty busy. Along with research, we have her researching, presenting some various programming. She's been working on a special project with the collections department involving our Chesley glass plate negative collection. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about this. George Chesley was a photographer in Pipestone from roughly 1880 to 1925, so quite a period of time. And in the 1980s, a couple thousand of his 5x7 glass plate negatives were discovered in his studio on Main Street and donated to the museum. And a number of years ago, we had them digitized so that they're easier to view. And it's just a great, important collection at the Pipestone County Museum. So as part of her internship, Isabel has been training on Past Perfect, which is the museum software program used by many museums. And she is entering the records of these negatives into the database systematically so that all of the information is uniform and complete, and making sure that the digital image is attached to the record And all of this is also searchable by name. So by name of the person photographed. So this year also, the Pipestone County Historical Society Board made a decision to move forward with a collections database through which we'll be able to make our collection catalog available to the public online at no charge to them. So the cost of this online service, it will be an annual fee that we will be building into the museum budget. But the Chesley glass plate negative collection will be the first part of our museum collection that will launch our online collections accessibility. So in this manner, we hope to be able to show more of the museum's collection with the public. So in addition to what's on display at any one time, people can view it online, items that we have in the collection. So our online collection catalog is tracked to launch at the end of this summer, and we're just really excited to give the public the opportunity to browse the museum's collection catalog, starting with over 3,000 glass plate negatives, mostly portraits, the majority which are identified.
Yeah.
So that's coming up, and our new internship is helping us get that program launched. So also, we have joined the Prairie Lands Library Exchange, which is a regional support system open to libraries of all types. And if you're not familiar with them, their mission is to encourage cooperation and the sharing of resources among all types of libraries within the 18 counties of southwestern Minnesota. So that will result in improved service for users of all the participating libraries. So the Pipestone County Museum has been recognized as a special archive library. And Prairie Lands has introduced us to additional grant funding, of which in 2024 we've already received $1,500, and that's helping us with special projects. We participated in a marketing grant and an inclusion grant with that. With our library collaboration, so we for about a year, we have been meeting in a collaboration effort with the Minders Library and the Pipestone Area School Library with the goal to pool our efforts for our collective public, so that we could better serve our collective public. So we brought a fantastic speaker presentation to Pipestone last fall for both the schools and the public. And right now we're working together to see the museum's newspaper collection digitized. It is not actually, none of the newspapers in Pipestone County are available online anywhere, like newspapers.com doesn't have them, the Library of Congress doesn't have them. The Minnesota Historical Society has just a few issues. So that is another project that the Pipestone County Historical Society Board is looking at to prioritize to get that out, that resource available to the public. So we are meeting with the libraries. We are supporting each other in other ways. For example, when Minders Library was under construction last winter, they held some of their programming at the museum. And we're also sharing programming with each other. And the school library is helping us advertise our resources to the teachers so that we can get more use by the schools. And then I always like to remind everybody that the Pipestone County Historical Society cares for and maintains 5 historic properties in Pipestone. And that includes the Old City Hall, the museum headquarters. So we, in the last few months, we did have a downspout blow off. If you remember a month ago, it was pretty windy. And we had some shingles that were dancing on the roof. So we're getting that looked into because this building maintenance is just an ongoing thing. The Ferris Grand building also had wind damage to the roof, which we did have repaired. And we're working with the Pipestone Performing Arts Center to replace the stage doors, the exterior doors on the building. So As for our project, the Ferris Grand project, rehabilitation project, the project grant has been held up a little bit with the contractor. The work was done satisfactorily, but we're having paperwork issues with the contractor. So unfortunately, this has set us back probably a year with the project. We had planned to write the next grant and be in line to proceed with the project. We're going to be a year back now because we're still closing out all the paperwork with that, but still have all the plans in order. They've just been pushed back a little bit. The second phase, which we had hoped would be in 2025, it's looking like the actual construction work will happen hopefully in 2026. And that will be repointing the remainder of the 3 exterior walls. We also own the L building, which is the lobby of the Performing Arts Center. It's actually a separate building there. There is some leaking on towards the north wall of that building as well that we have our eye on. And then we also own the Moore Block, which is rented right now to Prairie Maiden's Gift Shop, and the schoolhouse at Moore Park, where we hold programming every Thursday during the summer. And for those properties, we've recently purchased new fire extinguishers for those. So as you know, building maintenance, it's far reaching and it's just ongoing all the time. So as far as our programming, which is really our best service to the public, we changed our format a little bit on our coffee talks. We do hold those one Thursday a month at the museum, and we do welcome the public in at that time. We changed our format a little bit to feature a rotation of the museum staff speaking on objects in the museum collection, interesting articles we've come across, local history topics, things like that. Next up, we're going to be having our intern, Isabel Van Veldhuizen, who will be speaking on the topic of photographer George Chesley and the glass plate negative project that she's been involved in. We are continuing to offer our cemetery tours this summer. Very popular, educational. We do hold those throughout Pipestone County. This year we have been at St. Joseph Cemetery near Jasper, Peace Lutheran Cemetery at Ruthden, and we will be at Prairie Lawn in rural Troy Township and St. Leo Cemetery in Pipestone this summer. So many of our programs are recorded and placed on our YouTube channel. Not all of them. We haven't reached that format aspect yet where we can include all of them. A lot of it has to do with the speakers that we bring in, and they have intellectual control over their talk, so they don't allow recording. And we also don't record our walking tours.
Okay.
So there's just a lot of exciting projects we're working on.
Yeah, a lot of fun things coming up at the museum. I'm especially interested in the glass plates.
Yeah.
And I've read through that list a little bit, and there's some relatives there, I think, but we will see. And then also a lot of friends and classmates, their relatives too are I've seen in that list. So when will your coffee talk be where she will be making that presentation?
That is actually this next week. So it's the third Thursday of the month.
So third Thursday of the month at what time?
At 9:45, we invite people in for coffee and visiting, and then the speaker starts at 10.
Okay.
And that will be up on YouTube as well. And that's this next.
That's
Thursday.
this Thursday, ain't
It
it?
is, yeah.
This Thursday coming up. So,
That's the
yeah,
third one.
that would be a good one to see. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Susan.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Next up is airport. Rob.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The everything out there at the airport seems to be going halfway smooth.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. the construction that they started on the rail and the Pappies, they've got most of the cement in the ground. But the mosquitoes, I think, are driving them away a little bit too.
Yeah.
For some unknown reason, them are big this year.
Can't you talk with those air traffic controllers and get them under control here? or-
They said there was no control over them because they
Oh.
didn't have no N number on.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So they got out of that real easy. Right now they're getting ready to put the Pappy, so they got to pull a little bit more conduit so they can get that job done. The AWAS, that will be they got a track vehicle that's coming in from Sioux Falls, I think, so they can drill the holes to see what they got. The ground is too soft. They drove out there and things kind of buried, and so they had to pull everything out, and they'll get the track vehicle in there to do their job.
Okay,
So, and where they're going in at, I don't know exactly where the new road is going to go out to the AWAS, if it's going to come off of the runway or if it's going to come off of the road that goes past Casey, whatever that road is. So I don't know that answer on that one. The Fleet Master we put in, it's working. We put it in 3 days, we had it working good, and then all of a sudden it died. And according to the outfit that put it in, they said that it was a lightning strike, and therefore we would be held liable for some cards and stuff that were in there. And I didn't agree with that because we didn't have no lightning strikes. So the next day I went back to my old avionics days at the Guard, and I stood out there for a couple hours with talking to a guy from Nebraska, and we got things ironed out to the point that everything works.
good.
And all it was a card that jarred loose during shipment. But they're so eager to point the blame somewhere else,
Right,
which is normal.
yeah.
And the other thing is we're having a big problem with the jet fuel water. The other day I pumped 170 gallons of water out of that jet tank, and now there's 136 gallons more in there.
Oh, boy.
So we got to pump that out. Of course, that is down. Every time that thing pumps water, I don't know where the water's coming from. That's the problem. But the thing is, every time it pumps water, it costs us $500 even about just for fuel filters, because the fuel filters will shut that fuel off right now.
Sure.
But and like I say, I just shut the switch off. That's it, and that's it. Everything else is good.
So the long range plan is to get those tanks above ground, right?
Yes, very important.
Yeah. And hopefully that can happen soon
Yeah.
enough then if you're having that type of trouble, because that's I could see a liability issue, and I could see an issue where we certainly wouldn't want water in someone's plane in their fuel, so.
Because Horde Fuels, they come in and they usually gas up, and but they've been going to Sioux Falls and then coming out. The thing is, they just picked up a brand new TBM 950, which is worth probably about $7 or $8 million, and they pack a lot of people in there the way it looks. And I'd hate to have one of them go down.
So, and then also, Rob, if you've got water coming into those tanks, does that mean we have jet fuel getting out of those tanks? Are we contaminating the soil
No,
there? Or how is it getting in?
I don't know.
Okay,
I keep looking at the slips every day, and the fuel, the amounts are only getting more because of the water.
so we're not losing fuel.
We're not losing
That's a
any
good
fuel.
thing then.
No.
Okay, all right,
So, but
Yeah.
water is heavier than the fuel.
sure. So that's on the bottom, and you just.
Yeah, that's on the bottom. And we bought the necessary pumps to pump it out if I can get it working again. But hey, one thing it's another. You can't win sometimes. But everything else seems to be going good. The street department's been doing a good job with keeping the grass all mowed and the weeds down. So
Good. All right.
other than that, no complaints.
Well, an airport is a blessing to a community our size, and we're certainly glad that we have the airport that we do, and the work you do too, Rob, for as many years as you have been doing it. We have a very excellent facility out there, so thank you.
We have a very nice facility, and a lot of people comment on that fact too.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
I think the only way we could better it is if we probably put some brand new vehicles out there for the courtesy cars.
Oh, okay.
Cadillac or two wouldn't hurt anything probably.
Well, let's see if we can get you on a list then.
Well, no, they get used quite a bit, and that's good. They go to the park and they eat stuff, and
It's always nice to see those classic vehicles driving around
You
town
bet.
too.
you bet. Classic is right.
Okay.
Other than that, any questions?
Any questions from the council? No. Well, thank you again, Rob.
Thanks.
EDA, Justin.
I'm back. Oh, last 3 months, Project House was completed in May. We had a couple open houses. We solicited for bids. It didn't sell. It's currently listed with the real estate agents, so hopefully we get that sold quick this summer and we can get on to the next project. Southwest Acres, closed on a lot on June 14th. We'll be closing on the second lot on August 14th. August 19th, is a public hearing for the purchase and development agreement for a third lot. Currently, we have 5 lots available. After our EDA meeting, we have 2 more that just came up tonight, but they're going to be $25,000. The other 3 lots are going to be $15,000, fully refundable if you build a house within 2 years. And then, along with that, you have the city and the county have a 3-year tax abatement program for new homes. So if you got both those incentives and programs, you could save thousands of dollars building a new home in Southwest Acres. Rural Child Care Innovation Program launched in May, and we've had our orientation planning meetings. We're having our provider appreciation event on August 13th to show our local providers how much they mean to our community and give them an opportunity to receive some continuing education as well. In June, I went to St. Cloud for a couple days for the Economic Development Association of Minnesota's annual conference. Sioux Valley Energy gave me a scholarship to attend that. They donated $750, so that took care of that. And learned a lot, met a lot of other towns, and see what everybody else is doing around the state. Been working a lot with businesses looking to move or buildings looking for a business to move into. So just got to get everything to fall in the line. It's kind of a domino business there. We start doing real estate. Across the hall, the electricians just finished up today with those offices for the business incubator. We did get some grant funding from Sioux Valley Energy, Southwest Initiative Foundation, and Xcel Energy had a rebate program for lighting, so that saved a lot on all new energy efficient lighting in there. Quick Trip actually held 2 walk-in job fairs in the last month in those office spaces over there, and they were pleasantly surprised with the number of people and the quality of applicants they had. And I'm taking applications right now. We're advertising if there's any new business that wants to start in there or an existing business that needs an office space. They're all ready to go and they're brand new. So that's about all I got.
Well, good.
Very good.
Well, in your line of work, Justin, you don't see the results overnight, but we've certainly seen a lot of results in the last 6 months in Southwest Acres and other areas here in town. So keep up the good work, and we'll continue to develop and grow as we can here.
That's the plan.
Thank you. Chamber of Commerce is up, and Erica stopped in and talked to me today. She just said she is just way too busy to make it, and I don't blame her. She's got a lot going on her plate. She wanted me to announce the teddy bear picnic, which is Tuesday, July 16th, so I'll take this opportunity to do that versus at closing comments. And that would be at the Moore Park from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, a teddy bear picnic is a free, fun event. It's for all families, and child care providers are welcome. Just little guys can bring their teddy bears or any stuffed animal, a picnic blanket, and some chairs for the parents. And there'll be free hot dog lunch, and that starts at noon. There'll be a teddy bear parade and lots of games and lots of activities going on. So a fun-filled event for everybody. So if you have time available and you got little kids, it's a great place to go. So she wanted me to announce that. That's tomorrow. at 11 a.m. the Moore Park. That's on Hiawatha. Okay, Senior Center, you're up.
Well, I'm Joanne, as everybody knows,
Hello, Joanne.
and I am president of the board at the Senior Center. The Senior Center has had a really busy summer. We currently have 105 members, but of course, there's always room to have more for people to join. In addition to our routine monthly events, we held our Belgian waffle fundraiser in April. It was a great turnout that day, even though the weather was a little funky. And with the pre-sale tickets, donations, support of the community, after expenses, we made $5,000. We also just had our root beer float fundraiser. That's a little hard to say. We held that last Wednesday. We served around 150 root beer floats. And again, after expenses, we made $800. We've had a fun evening. One evening, we did a s'more fun evening. A bunch of the members all got together. We went out to the Three Maidens. We had a bonfire, and we made s'mores. We were all sticky by the end of the evening, but I think everyone enjoyed the fun night out and a time just to relax. We're keeping the center busy with speakers. We had Jill Turing with ACE, who was just here last Wednesday, and she was bringing us a lot of good information regarding diabetes. We have Kathy Moffett coming up this Wednesday, July 17th. She's going to do a demonstration on how to make homemade cards for your home, birthday cards, get well cards, things like that to the group. And we also have Jeff Hartquist lined up. He will be coming on Wednesday, July the 24th. With July almost over, we are working on our August calendar, but we are also working with Minders Community Library. They are very good helping us furnish our library that we have at the center. So whenever they have books that they no longer need or want, they bring them to us at the center and we put them in our library. We wanted to, and crafts, yes. She also brings crafts to us. So we also have crafts that she brings with us too, along with the books. So our members enjoy having a craft day. The Carnegie is basically cleaned out, and we wanted to thank the city for allowing us to use it as storage while the center was being moved. So we want to thank you for that. And I guess that's it, unless you have some questions for me.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun things happening at the Senior Center all the time. And I'm sorry I missed the root beer float fundraiser. That sounded great. I hope you have another one sometime. So
We're talking about it, yes.
yeah, good, good. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. We'll move on to legal then, in Ordinance 158 4 Series, an ordinance authorizing the sale of real property owned by the city to Horde Farm Holdings, LLC. It is being introduced to allow for the sale of property located within Government Lot 2, Section 1, Township 106 North, Range 46 West of the 5th PM to the Horde Farm Holdings, LLC for a price of $69,750. And this ordinance will be considered at a special meeting on July 19th. So I'll introduce that ordinance at this time.
I'll move ordinance 158 4 series.
No, we just introduced.
Oh, we just.
Yeah, we're just
I thought we
introducing
had
it,
to
so.
move it.
Yep,
So-
no, we're fine.
All right.
Okay. So next up in old business is the pickleball court fencing proposal. And this topic was previously discussed in May, however, due to a misunderstanding, is being brought back to the council for additional consideration. And our engineer, Travis Winter, will explain, and the council will need to consider the new fencing proposal. So Travis, I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. At the time of the May meeting when this was introduced, I had brought a proposal from Michael Smith to install fencing in between the courts of the ball and the new pickleball facility. And I had a verbal conversation with Michael Smith and I let them know that we had what I thought was 2 rows of of 4 courts that needed fence in between them, so a total of 6 runs. And they only thought of, I indicated 1. They sent me the proposal that had 156 feet of fence. And after they had ordered materials and came out and looked at it, it was discovered that they realized there was actually 2 rows of courts that needed the fencing between them. So it was recognized that it was a misunderstanding, miscommunication, and they sent a revised proposal that would provide the fencing in between all of the courts as we initially intended. So the cost of the revised proposal is $13,590 and 0 cents. So it's essentially twice the original proposal was due to the misunderstanding of the number of courts.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? Any comments?
Where did we, the original proposal, where was that funded out? Does anybody remember that?
Where that was going to be funded from?
Yeah,
Well, we had some funding available through the grant process yet. It sounded like it was able to cover it, correct?
I believe it was out of the rec centers, but, well, not the recreation budget was the
Okay.
additional cost.
Basically,
Yeah.
where it
Pete
was
had the
coming
money in his
from.
budget.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
so,
This was still significantly cheaper than the change order proposal that was initially brought over from Dunning.
Correct.
Right, and I think it's a good finish for our pickleball courts. It's, you know, once you see how they operate, how they're used, that fencing is something that's needed in that area just to keep it organized and to keep one person's game away from another person's game. So I think it's a good idea to move ahead with it.
I'll move that we have Michael Spence put the fence in for $13,590. Second.
We have a motion on the floor and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no, and motion carries. Thank you. New business. Request for council action. The Pipestone Farmers Market vendors are requesting permission to close the south half of the city parking lot located behind the historic Calumet for the farmers market every Saturday beginning July 20th through October 26th from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. and every evening beginning July 17th through October 30th from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Previously, they had requested to use the city-owned parking lot near the Stonehouse Restaurant. However, due to some unforeseen circumstances, they would like to move the location to the parking lot adjacent to City Hall. And I know they were out there the other night when I stopped in, and that's a nice location for them. And we certainly want to support the farmers market, and hopefully that continues to grow because it's a great practice to get fresh fruits and vegetables, and also there's other items there from time to time too. So I would entertain a motion to approve this request.
So move.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution 2024-46. This is a resolution accepting donations. The following donations have been received. $27 cash donation received at the Water Tower Festival to support the Human Rights Commission. I'd entertain a motion to approve that donation.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution 2024-42. It's a resolution granting a minor subdivision of property located at or near the intersection of 121st Street and County Road 67. This resolution subdivides approximately 4.65 acres of land and is needed prior to the consideration of Ordinance 158, 4th Series, which will allow the city to sell the property to Horde Farm Holdings LLC. And we'll need a motion for this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Resolution 2024-47 has been moved. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we need to schedule a special council meeting, and the city administrator is requesting that the council hold a special meeting on July 19th to consider Ordinance 158, 4th Series. An ordinance authorizing the sale of real property owned by the city to Horde Farms Holding LLC. And so I'd recommend a motion to approve that special council meeting.
I so move.
So
I'll second that.
we have a motion on the floor for July 19th special council meeting. Do we have a time?
That's up for you guys to discuss.
Yeah, we should probably put in a time in your motion then.
And Mayor Delaney, if I could add to, in addition to ordinance 158, we'd like to add a resolution establishing a road easement. And that'll be in line with ordinance 158, the road easement next to the property there.
Okay, so we'll have both of those items on the agenda for our special meeting.
Correct.
And that is scheduled for July 19th. The motion is on the floor, but we need to be more specific on a time.
Time 6:30.
6:30 is
Do it
fine
in the
with me.
evening, or-
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah,
Okay. What day of the week is July 19th?
Friday,
It's a
isn't it?
Friday.
That is a Friday?
Yep.
Okay. You want to go a little earlier
Probably
since it's a Friday? Should we try for 5:30?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor to special meeting July 19th at 5:30, and that would be in the City Hall chambers. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you. We have a 1 to 4 day temporary on-sale liquor license proposal. The Pipestone JCs are requesting this, and that's a temporary license that they've had in the past for the Pipestone County Fair, which is scheduled for July 31st through August 3rd. It's been approved in the past, and I'd recommend that we approve it again. I'd entertain a motion.
I so move. Second.
We have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Hiawatha Pageant Park Commission, we had a resignation on the Park Commission, and we have a new person interested in the appointment. Brad Burish has submitted an application to serve on the commission, and I'd recommend his conferment to the commission and requesting a motion.
I'll make that motion to accept Brad Burris.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item G, requests to subordinate liens. A request has come from First Farmers and Merchants Bank, who is working with the Pipestone Development Company, PDC, who has plans to build a spec twin home on the Old Hill School property. Currently, the city holds two mortgages, number 231071 and number 231925, against the PDC property located on 111th West Main Street. These liens were from the Main Street Improvement Program, where PDC improved both the residential and commercial portions of the property at 111 West Main Street. First Farmers and Merchants Bank would like to be first in line on the mortgage of this property, as it is their policy. This is roughly $35,150 remaining on the two mortgages. This is up for council consideration. So I'll open this up for some discussion, if there is any questions or discussion at this time, and then we can move ahead with a motion.
I guess I was just wondering, why is this property used for collateral that's in on the loan for this? versus any other property that they have holding.
Yeah, you know, and I don't have an answer to that question. This is just a request that came up through the bank, and I don't know if it's something that the bank requires through
Well, the
their
bank-
policy. They're
I know the
saying,
bank won't take a second on a mortgage.
Okay.
They want to be first.
but yeah, why are
That
they?
would move us to the back. And if it would ever, I doubt it would ever happen, but if it would default on the other property that they're going to take the use for collateral, we'll end up losing the loan on the.
Yeah, but it's a good question you have,
I
Roger.
would like to, I'd like to talk to somebody, more on this before
Yeah.
we went ahead with it.
I would assume the reason why 111 West Main is being brought into the mix here is that it's some type of blanket mortgage, maybe? I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, they're talking about the Hill School of Property, which is nowhere near this. And so I'm assuming that all their properties would be part of this mortgage, but I could be wrong. So do we need to research this a little further, get some further information before we make a decision? Is that what I'm hearing?
I would feel better to have a little more information on this.
Okay.
I move we table it till the next council meeting and get more information.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to table this request until our next regularly scheduled council meeting, which would be August 5th. And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no, and motion carries. And then we'll direct staff to get us some further information on that. Thank you. Item H, 14th Street Road Surface. This is being brought forth for our discussion held at a recent variance hearing and previous utility commission meeting. A residence with property adjacent to 14th Street, which is currently an undeveloped right-of-way, is requesting a variance to build a large accessory shed to store his camper. Currently, the residents would have to drive on a grass row to access the shed. The Board of Adjustment and Utilities Commission has indicated that they would like the road to be at a minimum a gravel surface from where the current pavement ends to where the residents plans to construct the shed or the entire length of that lot. Building official Solomon Derby has obtained some quotes, and that was in our packets. And we've got several options there. If you go to those quotes, we can look at them here before we request a motion. I think it's the last page of our packets. And of course,
That's,
find them on this one a lot
there it
quicker.
is. You just had it.
Yeah.
the
One
next
more page over. There it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about 100 feet here, and to extend that gravel road, and what we have is a paved surface road. It's not a complete street, it's just a paved surface road. And the thought was to continue that area much like we would an alley or something, and have just a gravel extension to that at this time that could be maintained by the city and that would be accessible year-round. Because of liability issues, if there was a need for EMS to get to that building and we had a bunch of snow piled up in front of it, that's probably not a good plan. Fire suppression, if there was a need for the fire department to get to that building and we had a bunch of snow piled up in it because we don't have a road there, probably not a good plan again there either in that way. So those are some very important things there that we need to discuss. And the extension at 1 inch, which just gives us the basic gravel platform,
1 foot.
or 1 foot, I'm sorry. And it's 100 feet with 1 foot, 18 feet wide. And that's the length of the width of the current street there. That's 14th Street Southwest. came in at $4,100. If we bring that up to a more existing road structure, which would be level with what's currently there, that would bring it up to $8,200. And then if we decided to go the entire 300 feet, which is, there's 3 lots there, and we have one owner that's interested in developing his lot, and that's why this came up. And there's 2 other owners there with additional lots that right away goes through. If we were to develop those with the hope that there may be additional development there or not, that would be $9,800 for the 1 foot extension, and the 2.5 extension brings it up to $17,250. These are just options. It's probably, if you're going to do the whole 300 feet, this would be the time to do it as far as what the expense is versus piecemealing it 100 feet at a time. But we have no request for anything other than the 100-foot extension at this time. And so everybody clear on that, what they're asking for? And so I'll open it up for some discussion or comments at this time, because this is some new ground here.
My recommendation would be for the individual that's building to do the 100 feet long, 1 foot deep with the gravel or millings or whatever they decide to go with. And the reason I'm leaning towards the 1 foot is because if they go any deeper with that to match up with the existing pavement, they're gonna block the water in their own backyard and isn't gonna be able to run out of there.
Yeah, that's my concern is there's a hole there that,
It's a low area now that will have to be, there'll have to be some fill brought in before you would be able to put a building there to the size that they're proposing. And then we'd have to keep in mind too that we do have city ordinance in effect as far as parking vehicles on grass and everything else. That's against city ordinance. And so we would require some type of hard surface, and a gravel drive is a hard surface. We would have to require that property owner to complete a hard surface driveway to that building. And of course, there's setbacks in this particular lot. It's the back of the lot. It's considered, because that's one lot, where the other 2 west of it are separate lots that could be developed and may not ever be developed, but it's a possibility. You know, in my eyes, we can do things the way things have been done for the last 20 years and expect probably the same results. And so I think we need to try to promote development. And this is one area where we can. And I think if we go ahead and put in that gravel road, whether it becomes the 1 foot extension or the 2.5 extension, we are sending a message that we are interested in developing the city of Pipestone. And this is just a small area, but it could develop into 2 more lots being used. And that would be to our benefit in the long run. So I think it's a good idea, and I don't see any problems with the variance for the building itself. It's just that there was concern for liability and fire and EMS issues without having a way to get to that building. And we're certainly not at the point where we need to put in a street and gutter and everything else. But if we had somebody come forward and say, hey, I want to build a house in the next lot or the next lot, well, then maybe we would, but not at this point. So
I think at this point means they're the only owner of the 3 that have come in asking for this, to let them take care of that first 100 feet, and then the city would maintain it from there on out. And if and when we do develop, if a development would happen back there, where we would raise it up to the existing road base, knowing that their lot would have to be built up to accommodate for the drainage back there and whatnot.
I talked to the neighbor and they're real concerned about putting that gravel in there and blocking that water from from, because it just pools in that area.
Right,
And
and
it's
if
gonna
you build up
back-
above where the grass is now, you're gonna make it worse.
Yeah.
And, you know, by us maintaining it and whatnot, that gives the other two neighbors the opportunity, if they need to go through there to do whatever in their own properties like they have been.
Yeah.
They still can.
That's the only access to
Because
those.
those neighbors, if they
Lots.
don't plan on developing, might not want that road going behind their properties.
Yeah.
Because that road or the alley per se is gonna invite more traffic back. There's what's gonna happen.
But the one I talked to is right there at the end of that blacktop.
Correct.
And that's gonna just pool closer to his property. Putting a road, blocking that water, because it usually goes south.
Oh, does there have to be some type of drainage area there
Something.
then?
It's gonna have to
Um,
be figured out.
Travis, maybe this is a question for you. I mean, here we have a private citizen that's interested in developing some property they own. It's undeveloped at this point. And, what would be the responsibilities for groundwater, issues? We certainly couldn't, have that groundwater being forced onto someone else's property. That doesn't seem right to me, but.
Correct, yeah, we would want whatever improvements are done right away, not in neighboring properties. I guess just for a point of clarification with the differences in quotes, I think going 2.5 feet deep is more to ensure that all of the black dirt is removed out of the subgrade of the road area before putting gravel back in. So I think either way you get the same elevation and kind of the continuance of the gradients there. It's just a matter of you want to maybe you want to have it go down to what's probably the bottom of where the black dirt is. If we were building a city street, we would definitely do that. We want to get all organic material out. With what's there existing, I don't know when 14th Street was extended, if that was never done, so my gut feel is make drainage work, and you could probably put a foot of gravel in there and it'd be just fine. If this was ever gonna be upgraded to a full-blown city street, we'd probably revisit this and take it down. We would start over. I think this would give us a hard surface. I think a foot of gravel would be adequate. More is always better, but I don't know that you need to go down to the clay and build a road back up when we're just trying to get a hard surface so they can drive on and you could have improved access for emergency services and any other vehicles that travel down there.
Okay. So you don't see an issue with, surface water? With,
Somebody would need to figure that out. I mean, and I both trying not to engineer this.
yeah,
I think we leave it to a figure it out in situation in this case.
okay. And yeah, so what I'm hearing is that hopefully it becomes an ongoing project. If this might be a project that just dies and never changes that area any further, or maybe if it does, we can think about those other issues at that time. So I think it's a good idea to put the extension on and at 1 foot. And we're talking about $4,100. And if that's quite a building that they're proposing to put up, if that's at the cost of the developer, or is that at the cost of the city? What would be the wishes of the council?
I would say the developer and the city will take it over from there and maintain it from there on out. And if it needs to be built up or have gravel added later, that'll be at the city expense. Like an alley.
Any other comments, questions? I'd entertain a motion then. Did somebody else have something? No, okay.
Let me just interject, Mr. Mayor, real quick.
Yeah, go right ahead, Jason. This is Jason Hill, our city attorney.
It sounds like that the city is gonna do this work, and there was some discussion about allowing the developer to do this work. If there's any part of this is a public record. So if there's any part of this, a private person or a private entity is gonna do work in a public right of way, there needs to be some kind of agreement in there to make sure that it gets built to whatever specs the city decides, like Travis is in the nature of this, we don't have to overrun the next freeway. But it's a public right of way, people can be driving on it, so for liability purposes and everything else, and the city's responsibility for maintaining public rights and way, if there is any part of this that a private person's gonna do, you just need to have something in place that brings up. You're gonna do it, basically, you're gonna do it according to city specs. The engineer's gonna inspect it and sign off on it, and you're gonna hold the city harmless if there's something wrong. Really, a basic agreement.
Okay,
I just wanted to emphasize that if there is any part of this that's gonna be done by a private person or a private.
that's a good point. And could we include this requirement, this double D gravel, do this work at the specs that we're approving this evening as part of the variance, that this would be also part of that? Because the variance hadn't been granted, that was tabled, and this portion could be added to that.
Yeah, it would just be, I think it's under the variance of this would be in place for this extension.
Okay, all right, good. Any other questions, comments? I'd entertain a motion then.
I'll make the motion that we have the private developer put in the 18-foot wide by 1 foot deep extension of gravel at their expense. And then they also have to have an extension going to their building of a hard surfacing
Right, that would be part of the variance,
at
yeah.
their expense also.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the city will take over maintenance of it from there on out after they're done with it.
And that's only for the 100 feet of this proposed lot.
Correct.
Okay, all right. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? We have a second. Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is closing comments. Does anyone have any closing comments? Okay. I would just like to mention that I received another complaint today on campers and boats parked on the city streets for weeks at a time. And of course, that's against the city ordinance to store your recreational vehicle, campers, or boats on the city streets. And there's reasons for that ordinance because we have difficulties with the right-of-way as far as setbacks at intersections, at alleyways. People have to come out around a camper before they can see if anybody's coming in. We don't want to see somebody in an accident. So if you have those types of recreational vehicles, you have to have an off-street place to park them, and that is on a paved surface. And coincidentally, that's part of what this property owner is trying to do. And we do have other folks in our community that need to address those issues. And that's something that we should pass on to the sheriff's office for enforcement. I also did receive a complaint again, and this usually happens on a weekly basis, of ordinance violations of unlicensed vehicles parked on grass, of basically just junk in backyards and front yards. And we have some homes that there isn't probably much paint left on them at all. And these, again, are all in violation of city ordinances. We're going to be discussing further with the law enforcement officials and come up with a better plan as far as enforcement of that, because things are just not getting done like they should. And if we need to go ahead and hire additional help to help enforce some of these ordinances, we'll have to wait and see what that would cost. And but we simply just can't ignore them. These complaints come in on a weekly basis, like I said, and really the process that we have doesn't seem to be working very well right now. So we have to, if we expect better results, we have to change something, I guess. So we're going to be looking into that further, and I appreciate the people that come forward with these questions and concerns. And you can always contact City Hall or the Sheriff's Office for any enforcement of any city ordinance. So thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, we'll have a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
So all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no, and motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Just got a bit.